Hello everyone, good day. I am Darlene Joyce Sumakin of BEd2B, and today I will present to you the chapter 3, which is the science, technology, and nation building, focusing on the pre-colonial period in the Philippines. So first, what is the pre-colonial period? So the pre-colonial period refers to the time before the arrival of Spaniards in 1521. So long before the Spaniards arrived, the islands of the Philippines were already alive with innovation. Farmers carved stair-like fields in mountains, seafarers built mighty wooden boats that brave oceans, women wove colorful textiles that told stories, healers cured illnesses with leaves and roots, and communities read the stars to survive. So, before pa daw the Spaniards arrived in 1521, ang atong mga ninuno kay di gud siya basta-basta. So they already had knowledge, technology, and culture na naghatag og identity sa early Filipino society. So dili gid sila primitive, kundi creative, resourceful, ug bright kaayo. So now, in the pre-colonial period, we have the agriculture and irrigation systems. So the pre-colonial Filipino developed sophisticated methods to cultivate the land and manage the water resources. So these agriculture practices were adapted to the local terrain and climate, ensuring food security and sustainable farming. So, para sa atong mga ninuno, ang farming was life during their time. So, diri makita nato nga wala pa'y modern machines, pero nakahimo sila og smart techniques aron makaproduce sila og food. So, we have here an example, the terrace farming, which is the Banawi rice terraces. So, it is fields built in step levels on mountain to prevent soil erosion. So, for the Banawi rice terraces is like giukit gid nila ang mga bukid para makahimo sila og rice fields in steps or terraces. So imagine wala sila'y mga gamit like bulldozer or mga machine, pero ilang kamot og simple lang nga tools ra ang gigamit para makahimo og kato like the Banawi rice terraces. And then this technique prevented soil erosion, and at the same time, nagamit nila ang slope sa bukid for farming. So until today, makita pa nato ni as one of the wonders of the world, ang Banawi rice terraces. So another method is the Sweden or kaingin farming. So it is the forest land cleared by cutting and burning trees to plant temporary crops. So, mauni nga technique nga mag-clear sila sa forested land, sunugon nila ang mga kahoy ug tanom, then ikahuman tanuman nila og mais, kamote, or rice. So, although karon dili na siya sustainable, pero at that time useful siya para makaplant crops nga madali-dali siya. So, and lastly, naatay raised gardens and aquaculture. So elevated garden beds and fish ponds used for growing vegetables and raising fish. So here, elevated garden protected plants from floods, or fish ponds gave them as steady supply of fish. So kung ato siyang ikuan, overall, ang agriculture for the Filipino pre-colonial Filipinos was not just for survival, so it was innovation. So ilang farming practices showed intelligence, environmental adaptations, and balance with the nature. So next, we have the maritime and navigation. So pre-colonial communities built advanced boats and developed navigational techniques that allowed them to explore, trade, and connect islands efficiently. So, ang Pilipinas man kay isang archipelago, so daghan kayong mga island, mga isla. So mastering the seas was very important during that time. So natay example here, the balangay boats. So the oldest discovered wooden boats in Southeast Asia, the balangay date back to the pre-colonial era as early as 320 CE and up to 988 CE, and are now testament to early Filipinos' maritime expertise and boat building skills. So our ancestors built the balangay boats nga nadiskubrihan nila sa Butuan. So these boats were proof nga as early as 300 CE, kabalo na ang mga Filipino mo travel for long distance. So ang balangay boats were big enough to carry families, mga goods, and even the kanang mga warriors. So we have here also the Caraca warships. So these large fast warships, a type of balangay, were used to raiding mangayaw and troop transport during the pre-colonial period, showcasing sophisticated warfare tactics and seafaring capabilities. So these were large and fast boats used during raids, or what we call the mangayaw. So dili lang sila for fighting but also for transporting people and showing power. So ang Caraca pwede na siya for raiding, for gamitin sa siya for transportation. And then next po we have the outrigger canyons, or the bangka and the venta. So these traditional outriggers boats are a familiar sight in the Philippines and were used for various purposes, including transportation and fishing, contributing to the archipelago's strong maritime tradition. So pang everyday use ang outriggers canyons, for example, or the bangka and the venta. So these boats help in fishing and transportation. So until now makita pa nato ni sa dagat nga gigamit gihapon. So kani siyang, like for example, the bangka kay ilan naman unsa na ang bangka, o ang venta kay ang venta. So kani sila nga mga boat gigamit ni sila for fishing o for transportation. So mo na siya ang sa bangka and the venta. So next we have the celestial navigation. So using stars and sun to determine the direction and location sa sea. So makahuna-huna ka ba na unsaon nila pag-navigate sa dagat? So, di ba dili pa man kay to siya high-tech, wala pa yung mga compass. So, in pre-colonial period, naasay sila celestial navigation. So, celestial navigation, the sun and the stars, so kabalo sila mo tan-aw sa langit aron makabalo kung asa sila padulong. For example, katong sa Moana nga kanang salida, di ba si Moana is tanaw siya sa langit, or iyang trace ang mga stars, and then aron mahibaw-an kung asa ang way or asa ang direction sa iyang adtuan. So this proves na Filipinos were natural sailors and traders. So next we have the metallurgy and craftsmanship. So pre-colonial Filipinos had a deep understanding of metals and materials. They crafted tools, jewelry, and ornaments that reflected both functionality and artistic expression. So they created iron tools and weapons. So durable tools and weapons for farming and protection. So for farming, like the bolos, o para pud na siya for protection. So for this made their life more efficient. So next we have the gold jewelry and ornaments, or lingling o golden tara. So decorative pieces showing wealth and status. So they crafted gold jewelry and ornaments like the famous lingling o and the golden tara. So dili lang siya for decoration, pero symbol of wealth and social status ni siya. And ang design is intricate kaayo, meaning artistics ang mga artisan. So, ang kaning gold jewelry or ornaments dili ra siya for decoration. So, kanang maka reflect ni siya og mga symbol like wealth kung sa imong status ato nga time. So, next we have the bronze shell and bone tools. So, everyday item used for crafting, fishing, or decoration. So, aside from the metals, gamit pod ni sila ang bronze, shell, o kanang bone tools. So, this shows na whatever materials available during that time magamit gid nila into something useful and beautiful. So dili lang for survival, naagid appreciation for art and culture further sa ilahang time. So next we have the medicine and herbal knowledge. So health and healing were closely tied to nature. Indigenous people relied on herbal remedies and traditional medical knowledge to treat illnesses and maintain well-being. So, in health in pre-colonial Philippines, was connected din siya sa nature and spiritually. So, we have here the babaylan and hilot healing process. In pre-colonial Philippines, the babaylan was a spiritual leader and a healer, while hilot was a traditional massage and healing technique used to address physical ailments. So, the babaylan, kay mo to sila mga spiritual leader o healer. Siya ang mag-guide sa community in rituals and healing. So, naapunta diri ang hilot, nga mo nilang massage therapy para sa mga sakit sa lawas. So, di ba until now, naagihapon ang hilot, especially if kanang sakit na kayo mong kalawasan. So, mo na siya ang himo na massage therapy, which is the hilot. So, next we have the herbal remedies for common ailments. So, in pre-colonial Philippines, traditional healers use native plants like lakundi for coughs and pain, sambong for kidney issues, and guava leaves for wounds and oral hygiene, along with yerba buena for fever and ginger for nausea. So, they use herbal medicine like lagundi for coughs, sambong for kidney issues, guava leaves for wounds and oral health, yerba buena for fever, o ginger for nausea. Imagine, daghan ana gigamit pa. So, imagine, daghan pa ana sa ato na nagamit gihapon ana for herbal remedies and common ailments. So, muna siya sa pre-colonial period. Next, we have the ritual and spiritual healing. In the pre-colonial Philippines, rituals for spirit caused illnesses involved the babaylan or katalunan, a healer and a priest who performs sacrifices like offering food, gold, or blood from a chicken, and invocations and anitos or ancestral spirits to determine the cause and restore balance. So, dili lang daw physical healing na kung nagtuo sila nga ang sakit gikan sa mga spirits, ang babaylan ang mag-offer og ritual healing. So, mag-offer sila og mga pagkaon, mga gold, or even animals for sacrifices. And also, and prayed for ancestral spirits. So, holistic ang ilang pagtanaw as sa health, sa mind, sa body, and sa spirit. So, moto siya ang sa medicine and herbal knowledge. So next, we have the astronomy and calendar systems. So observing the stars and celestial events was vital for daily life. Pre-colonial Filipinos used astronomy to guide planting, fishing, and social activities, integrating this observation into their calendars. So first, we have the lunar calendars for agriculture. Planning, planting, and harvesting according to the moon phases. So And then the next one is the star cluster for navigation, used by sailors to find direction at sea. And then the next one is the solar alignments for planting, observing the sun's position for farming and season. So, in the pre-colonial Filipino, nindot po ang ilang mga knowledge about the sky, so they created lunar calendars to know when the plant and harvest. And then for fishermen, they sa kanang star clusters to know the direction of the sea, kung asa sila mangisda or asa ang part sa dagat ang daghan og mga isda. And then the next one is the solar alignments for planting. So farmers also observe solar alignments to know the planting season. So nagid sila yung mga palatandaan or mga sign gikan sa stars, sa lunar, and also sa solar. So this means na astronomy was not abstract but very very practical para sa survival sa daily life during the pre-colonial period. So next you have the trade and economic systems. Commerce and exchange shape early Filipino societies. Trade networks connected communities within the archipelago and with neighboring regions, fostering economic growth and cultural exchange. So we have here the barter system. So exchange of goods without money. So sa ekonomiya, ang barter system pa ang gamit. So wala pa'y kwarta na involved, pero functional na kayo. So they exchange rice, salt, fish, jewelry, o mga wooden fabrics. So mo to siya ang sa barter system. So next we have the local and international trade, like the China, India, and the Malaysia. So imported and exported goods like silk, ceramics, and gold. So ang mas nakanindot pagid kay na sila'y the international trade with China, India, o Malaysia. So they imported the silk, ceramics, or exported gold, spears, and other resources. So during the pre-colonial time, nana ni ang mga trade ng mga butang. So next, you have the specialized crafts and products for trade. So local items like pottery, jewelry, and woven fabrics. So local crafts like pottery, jewelry, and woven products kay this shows na dili lang sila self-sufficient but globally connected na daan ng mga ninuno nato sa una. So next, we have the governance and social organization. Communities were structured around systems of leadership and social norms. Pre-colonial governance ensured order, resolved conflicts, and organized communal resources, and for the welfare for all members. So we have the barangay system, led by Datu. So small community led by a chief. So sa una, ang communities were called barangays. But up until now, nagtawag yapon siya ka ng mga barangays. So, led by a dato. Ang dato ang responsible for the leadership, defense of mga justice. So, next we have the Council of Elders. So, advisors who help maintain and order and resolve disputes. So, napod ang Council of Elders na advisor sa dato. And also, we have here the legal codes and customary laws. So, rules and traditions to maintain justice and organization. So, ang mga laws were based on customs and traditions, so simply but effective. This proves nga organized ang pre-colonial society, like dili siya chaotic during that time. Kay nanay mga leader, or what should we call the dato, nga nag-lead sa during that time. So mo na siya ang mga dato. Now we have the architecture and settlement planning. So settlements were designed to harmonize with the environment. Homes, communal spaces, and defensive structure reflected both practical needs and social organization. So first, we have the bahay kubo, small elevated bamboo houses for flood protection. And next, we have the Turagan, Mindanao, grand houses with decorative carvings for elite families. So next, we have the fortified villages and communal spaces, defensive walls and areas for community gathering. So their houses reflected environment and culture. Like the bahay kubo was made of bamboo, nipa, and wood. So elevated siya to protect from floods and animals. So in Mindanao, elites had turugan houses, beautifully carved grand houses for royal families. So some villages were fortified, meaning they have defensive walls. So this shows practical and artistic balance. So mo na siya ang sa architecture and settlement planning. Nanadiri ang bahay kubo, so Turugan, Mindanao, and the fortified villages and communal spaces during the pre-colonial period. So next, we have the writing systems. So we have here the baybayin. In the pre-colonial period, baybayin was a widespread writing system used by Filipinos with a high literacy rate before the Spanish colonizations. So before the colonization, nanatay baybayin. So an indigenous script. Many Filipinos were literate, which means our ancestors could read and write. So they use it for contracts, messages, and communication. So this is a proof nga literacy existed before Spaniards introduced the Latin alphabet. So next, you have the textiles and weaving. In the pre-colonial period, Philippines indigenous groups developed a rich textiles and weaving traditional using plant fibers like pineapple and abaca, and sometimes silk and cotton to create clothing, blankets, mats, and baskets. So we have here the indigenous weaving techniques. So skills to create fabric using hand looms. And then next we have the use of natural dyes, colors made from plants for threads, traditional clothing and mats, woven fabrics used to garments and household items. So in pre-colonial, weaving was another advanced skill. So they used abaca, pineapple fiber, silk, and cotton. And also colors were made using natural dyes from the plants. So the woven product were used for clothes, mats, and blankets and baskets. So this shows both practically and artistry of Filipinos. So during the pre-colonial period, nanani ang mga nanani ang textiles and weaving. Nana ang indigenous weaving techniques, use of natural dyes, traditional clothing, and the mats. Next, we have the pottery and ceramics. So pottery in the pre-colonial Philippines was not only useful but also a symbol of culture and creativity. It was essential in daily life for storage, cooking, and rituals, while also reflecting an artistry of early Filipinos. So we have here the cooking pots and storage jars. So this was made to store rice, water, and other food items, ensuring proper preservation and daily use. So sa una, they use pots or storage jars to preserve or to store the rice, the water, and other food items, ensuring proper ang preservation and for their daily use. So next, we have the ritual and decorative pottery. So some pots were were created for religious, for ceremonial purposes, often used as offerings or burials goods. So, while the cooking pots and storagers, kay moto siya ang pag-store sa mga rice, water, and other food items. While sa rituals and decorative pottery, kay mo na siya ang gamiton for offerings and for the burial goods. Last one, we have the clay-based musical instruments. So, early Filipinos also crafted instruments such as clay drums and whistles, which were used in rituals and celebrations. So, naay ritual and So, last one, we have the clay-based musical instruments. So, early Filipinos also crafted instruments such as drums, whistles, which were used in rituals and celebrations. So, in pre-colonial period, naana daw ang kanang mga crafted nga instrument such as clay drums and whistles nga ginagamit nila for rituals and celebrations. So the last one, we have the weapon and defense technology. Protection and warfare required ingenuity. Pre-colonial Filipinos designed weapons and defensive tools tailored to their environment and societal needs. So we have the spears, bows, and bolos, which gamitan for weapons for hunting and defense, shield and armor, protective gear for warriors, and then fortifications for villagers, walls and defensive structures to protect communities. Finally, weapons and defense in pre-colonial Filipinos had spears, bows, and bolos for hunting and fighting. Warriors use shields and armors for protection, and then communities built fortification to defend against enemies. So in pre-colonial na ni siya nga mga butang in order for them to have a protection, especially if na may mga kaaway or mga enemies, especially in the pre-colonial kanang time. So this proves nga organized and prepared good ang mga tao in the pre-colonial period. So overall, the pre-colonial Filipinos were highly advanced in science and technology, and they had knowledge in agriculture, navigation, maritime, healing, craftsmanship, trade, governance, and even literacy. So this proves nga dili primitive ang atong mga ninuno, but they were intelligent, creative, and resilient people who laid the foundation of our culture and nation. So that will be all for the chapter 3, which is the science, technology, and nation building, focusing on the pre-colonial period. So thank you for listening, and goodbye.